Embarking on a new career is always exciting. Today you're joining the list of people who work on the railways, keeping the world's people and cargo running smoothly. There's a lot to learn, but you'll be taking it step by step. Let's start by looking around. Find each of the markers and look at them. Before you get to the trains, take a quick tour of the facility here and learn the basics of moving around on foot. Your current objective is shown in the top left of the screen. You've just been awarded some action points. These are displayed in the top right corner of the screen and count towards your overall experience level for the game. This is one of the many route tasks you can discover. Keep an eye out for other tasks that will ask you to place, collect, or fix a variety of things. Head into the main building to continue your induction. Walk over to the waiting area on the right. Let's take it. You can pause at any point to review objectives and a lot of other information about what's happening at the moment. Try it now and then return to the game after you've had a look round. Now that you've covered some of the basics of moving around and interacting with the environment, let's take a walk through the building and find the trains. This is Central Square. From here you can explore the main training centre depot and surrounding yards. Your journey operating trains is just getting started here at the training centre. Remember, you can always come back here from the main menu to refresh your knowledge if you're unsure about anything. In this training module, you'll learn about the on-screen overlay known as the heads-up display, or HUD. You'll see it when you're in control of a train. You can configure a range of parameters for the HUD that affect how it looks in the game settings. In this tutorial, you're going to take a look at the two main types of HUD and make a first choice of which one you prefer. Get started by climbing up the ladder into this train and sit in the indicated driving seat. Welcome to the most important seat in the train. Before you can start learning how to make the train move, you're going to need to understand what the HUD is telling you. There are three types of HUD. The one you're seeing now is the normal HUD. You'll learn that first, and then take a look at the minimal HUD next. There is also a simple HUD, which is essentially a cut-down version of the normal HUD. The HUD is a guide to show you what the train is doing, how you're doing, and what your next objectives are. You can tune what's shown here using the game settings. The main part of the normal HUD is the speed display in the bottom right. Your current speed is indicated by a white bar that will appear on the outside of the speedometer, and there is a red mark that indicates the maximum permitted speed. This is the direction display. An arrow will indicate the forward, reverse, and neutral directions. A cross, or X, means the reverser is currently either not inserted or in the off position. This is the power display. A number will indicate what position the power or throttle control is in. If the display is white, it refers to power. If the display is yellow, it means powered braking or dynamic braking. If the display is red, then the throttle is currently locked out and you will need to take steps to release the lock before power can be applied. You can learn about troubleshooting elsewhere in Training Center. These are the brake indicators. The exact one shown will vary by train and will often be visible in the train itself on the various gauges. These gauges tell you what is happening in the braking system. The most important one is the BC, or brake cylinder. In most trains, when this reads 0, that means the brakes are released. Anything else, and the brakes are applied. In the top right is the track monitor. This shows you the line ahead and allows you to see all the signals and speed limit changes that you're approaching. By default, the track monitor shows the signals with their actual red, yellow or green aspect, but when you get more confidence, you can hide this information via an option in the game settings. As you accelerate, the track monitor will extend its look-ahead distance so you can see much further ahead at higher speeds. This is all done automatically. Now that you're familiar with the normal HUD, it's time to take a look at the minimal HUD. You can change this via the game settings, but for this tutorial, the game will change it automatically. You can see that most of the HUD is now gone. You are left with basic information in the top left corner. The minimal HUD immerses you in the experience of driving the train. Use the train's real gauges as much as possible. In the top left corner, you will see the information about your next objective and some limited information about what the train is doing, such as your current speed, the speed limit, and the gradient. Use the game settings to add and remove information from the minimal HUD. With less information, you'll find driving more challenging, but also more immersive and rewarding. Experienced players might prefer the minimal HUD, especially when driving from the cab view. The normal HUD is ideal for newcomers or anyone who wants to drive from an external camera. You can switch HUDs in game settings. Do you want to start with the normal HUD or minimal HUD? That concludes this module. If you wish to replay it, you can come back to it at any time via the training center. In this training module, you'll be learning about the live 2D map and how it can help you understand where you are, where your objective is, and how you can change the path of the train to get to the right place. Under normal circumstances, the driver has little, if anything, to do with where a train is going. It's all handled centrally by a signaling center or dispatcher. Within yards and depots, however, you will find that these are often managed by the crew of the train directly. That means you. You can tell whether a junction is manual or automatic by looking at it. If it has no big lever, then it's automatic and you can't influence it. If it does, then interacting with that lever will change the junction. For this module, you'll take this class 323 from the siding here next to the main loops and set all the junctions yourself to direct the train to the switch lines, and then change ends and repeat the process to bring the train into the depot. Your destination has been set over in the switch lines on the far west of the training center. Use the map to follow the path from the train to the destination and change all the junctions you need to get there. If you make a mistake and go the wrong way, you can go back and try to correct it. If you're not ready for that, just restart the module and try again. Once again, use the map to adjust the junctions between your train and the destination. Where the black lines on the 2D map aren't aligned with the blue path, change the junction. When you're ready, get moving. That concludes this module. If you wish to replay it, you can come back to it at any time via the training center. In this training module, you're going to learn to drive a diesel-electric locomotive and how the controls differ from a multiple unit. This is a BR Class 66 diesel-electric locomotive typically used for freight operations in the United Kingdom. In some trains, it is first necessary to insert the reverser handle. We need to do that on this one. We want to move the train forwards, so move the reverser in that direction. The train brake on the Class 66 uses a sprung lever. Holding it one way will gradually release the brakes until you release the lever. Holding it the other will gradually apply the brakes. You need to keep an eye on the two brake gauges in front of you. The larger one in the middle is the brake pipe. The outside needle shows the target pressure and the inside needle shows the actual pressure. When you apply or release the brakes, the outer needle moves and the onboard control systems will begin to adjust the brakes to match your setting. You can make a change to the brakes and focus on the road ahead while the system works to match the pressure you've set. The second gauge of note is the brake cylinder gauge, which is the second from the left. This tells you exactly what is happening with the brakes on the two sets of wheels on the locomotive. If the needles are raised to a V shape, that means they are fully applied. When the needles are both pointing directly down, the brakes on the locomotive will be fully released. You can learn more about braking systems elsewhere in the training center, but for now, you just need to remember that you are directly controlling the outer needle on the brake pipe gauge, and that the end result is shown on the brake cylinder gauge. Keep the brake control in release until you can see the brake pipe control needle is reading 5 bar, pointing upwards. This will release the brakes fully. On the locomotive, and you can move the train. It's important to note that the brake cylinder gauge is only telling you what's happening on your locomotive. If you have wagons attached, they can take a little longer to release, so if the train doesn't move immediately, don't worry. Now that you've reached your target speed, you can move the throttle control back to 0. The train will then coast on level ground, and the train will only slow down very gradually. In this training module, you'll be learning about the various camera controls and how to get the best views. You can drive from in the cab or an exterior camera. Exterior views are particularly useful for coupling and uncoupling. Currently, you're in the cab of this Class 323 EMU with the same view a real driver would have. Before experimenting with camera views, set the train up correctly as if ready for departure. We will now explore the camera controls. To get back inside the cab, a different key must be pressed. Do that now. Now that you're used to interior and exterior, switch back to the exterior view again to learn more about it. From the exterior, you can move the camera around. Use the key's indicators along with your mouse to move and turn the camera. If the mouse pointer is moving but your view doesn't change, right-click the mouse to turn on camera mode. Spend a minute just practicing moving and turning the external camera. You can zoom in and out using the mouse wheel. Try it now. While in an external camera, you can also interact with some elements such as junctions. You'll be learning about junctions properly in a different training module, but for now, fly over to the indicated junction and change it by interacting with it using the controls indicated. There's a lot more to learn about cameras, including numerous other camera modes. You can find out more in other areas of the training center. That concludes this module. If you wish to replay it, you can come back to it at any time via the training center. In this module, you'll combine everything you learned from the moving a train, passenger operations, and camera controls modules, but from outside the train. Now you'll have the freedom to enjoy external cameras while driving the train. Before you go any further, get the lighting all set up correctly. You can activate the master key by pressing the indicator. Now press the key's indicator. Just as with other modules, you're currently sitting in a Class 323 multiple unit. You must now switch to the exterior camera. If you need a reminder on how to do this, head over to the camera controls module first and have a quick refresher. Aside from the magnificent views, exterior camera views can make it easier to complete tasks such as coupling, checking your lights, and changing junctions. Only a small number of the most common functions are usable for an exterior camera. If you find you need to do something that isn't available, simply switch to the internal camera to do it, and then switch back. Finally, press the key indicated to apply some power. There are two keys, one to add more throttle and one to take throttle away. Experiment with them a little. Now that you've moved down the track, it's time to bring the train to a stop. Use the keys indicated to adjust the power brake handle to apply some brakes. Try restarting this tutorial and running it a few times until you're comfortable with driving from the outside, including moving the camera around. That concludes this module. If you wish to replay it, you can come back to it at any time via the training center. In this training module, you'll be learning how to shut down a cab and change ends of the train so that you can drive in the other direction. You'll bring this unit back to central square sidings. You'll need to change ends a couple of times. Don't worry about how the train is going to get there though, all the paths are going to be set for you. You just need to change ends and then drive when you're given instruction to do so. Get started by setting this cab up for operation. Activate the master key first to unlock the control desk. Set the headlights for daytime operation and ensure the tail lights. The first move brings the train forwards to the junction around the corner from here, and you'll be stopping once the rear of the train has cleared it. Apply some power and drive forward a bit so that we can prove that this cab is working and the train moves as expected. That's far enough. Now that the train has stopped, you need to shut this cab down. Turn off the headlights and ensure the tail lights are on. Set the reverser to off. Remove the master. This cab is now shut down. Walk over to the other end of the train, ensuring to close any doors behind you. Sit in the driver's seat. Follow the steps indicated to activate this cab, repeating the procedure that you did when you set up the previous cab. Now that the cab is active, wait for the yard controller to give us permission to proceed forward once they've checked and blocked all the junctions for us. You're good to go. Apply some power and get moving. follow the steps indicated to deactivate this cab. Now that the cab is active, wait for the yard controller to give us permission to proceed forward once they've checked and locked all the junctions for us. Before you finish, take a moment to review. When changing cabs on almost any train, there are some common things to double check before you depart the cab you're finished with. What position have you left the throttle and brake controls in? What position is the reverser in? Are the headlights and taillights set up correctly for what will become the rear of the train? Are all doors closed? Once you get used to each train you operate, you'll quickly begin to remember what each one needs and get used to the elements that are common between different trains. That concludes this module. If you wish to replay it, you can come back to it at any time via the training center. In this training module, you'll be learning about the live 2D map and how it can help you understand where you are, where your objective is, and how you can change the path of the train to get to the right place. Under normal circumstances, the driver has little, if anything, to do with where a train is going. It's all handled centrally by a signaling center or dispatcher. Within yards and depots, however, you will find that these are often managed by the crew of the train directly. That means you. You can tell whether a junction is manual or automatic by looking at it. If it has no big lever, then it's automatic and you can't influence it. If it does, then interacting with that lever will change the junction. For this module, you'll take this class 323 from the siding here next to the main loops and set all the junctions yourself to direct the train to the switch lines, and then change ends and repeat the process to bring the train into the depot. Your destination has been set over in the switch lines on the far west of the training center. Use the map to follow the path from the train to the destination and change all the junctions you need to get there. If you make a mistake and go the wrong way, you can go back and try to correct it. If you're not ready for that, just restart the module and try again. You've made it to the first destination. Go ahead and change ends in the train and you can try one more time for practice. Once again, use the map to adjust the junctions between your train and the destination. Where the black lines on the 2D map aren't aligned with the blue path, change the junction. When you're ready, get moving. That concludes this module. If you wish to replay it, you can come back to it at any time via the training center.